Yo, what up, what up, what up? Good evening, good evening, good evening. See if I can get this thing started here. I guess it don't want to work. Okay, let's see. Yeah, what's happening, everybody? What's going on? Pastor Dixon here. I was trying to get a little music going, but I guess I'm not going to be able to get that started up. Looks like a computer don't want to operate right. But then again, that happens. That does happen. So, let's see. Alrighty. Well, I'm not going to waste no time on that. Alrighty, let me tag some people right quick. Alrighty, let's see what we can come up with. Hope everybody had a wonderful day today. And that everybody is safe and staying safe in the climate that we're in right now, crazy climate that we're in right now, dealing with the coronavirus. Let me get some folks tagged right quick before I move on. Yeah, alrighty. Trying to make sure I skip those who don't want to be tagged, but I should be ready to go in a few minutes here. So please, rest easy. Take a minute to share this out, please, so that others might, who might need to hear this message tonight, get on. This ain't about me. Let me just put that out right now. There are people who do things to get attention or whatever. Man, I've been trying to preach this message about stay safe and how we stay safe, and talking about how this coronavirus had adversely and disproportionately affected black people, and all of these things I've talked about since that second weekend in March. Well over a month I've been talking about it. I know there are people who right now are popping up here and popping up there and trying to, get on the bandwagon, but more power to them. I do this because I care. I do this because people are being hurt in our nation over this. Globally right now, the amount of coronavirus deaths attributed to coronavirus have gone over 200,000 deaths. Yes. And the cases, I think, are like over 2 million confirmed cases. It's crazy. So when I got some background information on this killer right around March 10th, and I think my first live that I did about this killer, this predator, like Governor Andrew Cuomo called it, and I like to use that term, a predator, because that's what it is. I started preaching that message right around the 12th of March. My first live was on the 14th of March. And I haven't been able to let up since then, because I still see people out here who take this killer for granted. And I see other people, specifically starting at the top of the food chain here in South Carolina, the governor I'm talking about, and drifting down to municipalities here, on down to the street level. I see people are steadily talking about, we need to open up. We need to get back to work. Our profit margins, our company's about to collapse. And don't think that I'm unsympathetic, that I don't care. And really I do. But there's one thing I'll always have concern over, I'm not even just going to say profit margins. I'm going to say just over anything else, and that's life. If we don't preserve life first, there ain't no sense in us even having life. That should be every person's first priority, top priority, the preservation of life. In America, the guarantees of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, the first tenet that was that part of that guarantee, said that we were endowed by our Creator with this. That first tenet is life, not your profit margin, not that your business is jeopardized. And please don't misunderstand me. I am definitely sympathetic and understanding, but right now we have a situation where lives are being lost to a killer virus, an invisible killer. And the only way, the only proven method of confining and containing and limiting this pathogen is through social distancing measures and testing. Testing is beyond our control as far as people, folks on the street. Testing is beyond our control. So since testing is beyond our control, we do have control of social distancing. Let me just stop right there with the tagging, okay? Yes, we do have control of social distancing. And unfortunately, from the top down, people are in such a hurry to first off get it in here that we're beyond the curve and make themselves believe it because something in the back of their mind says, I got to get my money. That's why they're making themselves believe this. And the reality is we ain't even hit the curve yet. But it's coming. It's coming. Trust me. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I did have a little Marvin Gaye I was going to put on in the background, but I guess that's not supposed to happen tonight. So I will just hold it off for a while. Good evening, Aaron and Johnny. Johnny, how you doing, brother? Good to see you on tonight. Chris, what's going on? All righty. Yes, sir. We still need to link up, Chris. Okay. Holla at your boy. Missy, good evening. Good evening. And thank you for always just sharing things with me. It's very important, not only for the information highway and the information network, but just to know that for me in my heart that there are other people out here who are just not willing to sit down, roll over, and catch this virus and die, not without putting out information to others. Thank you so much, okay? Leroy, what's going on? Gina, candidate for House, South Carolina House. Gina, type your Facebook page or something so that folks know that you're running for this seat, okay? I'm happy to see you there, for sure. Faye, all right, good to see you. Good to see you. All righty. I don't know what this little thing say, bring them on camera. Okay. Miss B, what's going on? How you doing? Kevin, what's going on, man? Finding out about that desecrated cemetery, man. We gotta move on that. We're gonna move on that. Yeah. Faye, always glad to see you in the house. Yes, Gina, this world is going crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. And you see, look at California. Must be talking about the beaches, okay? All them folks packed up on them beaches. That's the same thing's going to happen here because, unfortunately, unless there is an executive order, a law in place, something that can be enforced, people are going to push that to the limit. They don't believe this thing, okay? They don't believe this thing because it hasn't developed the way it has in other places like New York, like in New Orleans. I bet if they opened up the beaches in New Orleans, wouldn't be no crush of people there. Or in New York, it wouldn't be. If Jones Beach on Long Island was open, folks would not be out there because they already know the devastation that this monster is bringing. Kathy, good evening. Yeah. Miss B, I see you. Robert, what's going on, sir? How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Sebastian, what's going on? All right, good evening. Keith, what's happening, brother? We need to link up, okay? And make sure we're moving forward, okay, with all of the issues that you're fighting for. I'm with you. Lynn, hey, good to see you. Good to see you. And thank you so much for your continued support and your ongoing support. Tracy, what's going on in the upstate, okay? What's happening? Sorry that we didn't get back together in order to stand against those folks. I'm going to talk about that thing tonight because it's really stressful or distressing that we got these people that are just, they are so self-centered It's so much about them and their bottom lines and their lifestyle that they don't mind compromising the health and welfare of their fellow Americans. And they call themselves patriots. It's a lie to the pits of hell, for sure. Only time that they appreciate you from a patriotic standpoint is when you're working for them or dying for them. One of the two. Lee, how you doing? Good to see you. All righty, good to see you. Shauna Leah, off the West Coast, please. You all be safe out there. Be safe. That's for everybody on here. That's for everybody on here. Nathaniel, good to see you, brother. Kimani, what's going on? Yes, sir. Yes, sir, my brother. Still grinding. Still grinding. It's been a long ride, but right now, my push always been about, trying to save lives, be it trying to keep folks from going back in the system, coming out and staying out and being successful getting out, or trying to make sure people getting paid right, trying to get these guns off the street. No matter what it is, I'm out here trying to make sure that people live, period. That first thing that we are, the framers of the founding fathers said that we were endowed by our creator with life. That's that first stop, and I've just been grinding, trying to make it happen, and I'm still grinding. It's just taken another turn with the advent of this monster virus, this killer virus called COVID-19, and it's a darn shame that we have so many people out here who don't believe in it. I can't, maybe I shouldn't even say don't believe in it. I think they believe in it. But two things: they don't believe it'll get them, and their profit margin is what's first. Okay? I'm not even going to talk about the lady said she had to get her hair done. Man, in the words of Forrest Gump, stupid is as stupid does. That's the bottom line on that. Andrew, what's going on, brother? How's it going? All righty. Good to see you. Sending much love to you and the family. Okay? Alrighty, and to everyone else on here. Okay, by the numbers. Okay, let's start on the national level, because I first have to lay the groundwork. Okay, so those that are on here will be able to, and those who listen sometime in the hopefully near future to this broadcast will understand the severity of the situation. You see, because there's some people, they look on this coronavirus sort of like how they look on like slavery. They, for some reason or other, they thinking that in their mind, slavery was like thousands of years ago or something like that. When the ending of slavery, the institution of slavery, and living slaves were still alive when I was born. So it wasn't that long ago. So there are many people who look at COVID-19 coronavirus and they think it's somewhere distant from them. But what I do is I try to bring the numbers in up close and personal so anybody can understand them with a logical mind, where you can't block that foolishness, can't block the real or the realness of what's going on. Block it out. Kendall, what's going on, brother? Quality Education Project in the house. Good to see you. So the numbers, okay? The first death in the United States happened 57 days ago. 57 days. Now, 57 days ago, that's not 2 full months. That was the first death in the United States 57 days ago, March 1st. Okay. Unless you take into consideration the information that was just brought out a couple of days ago about 2 prior deaths that happened in Southern California in mid-February, I believe it was. Now, I haven't heard anything else about those, so I'm sticking with what I've been saying for a while. And if those 2 deaths are added on, into the totals, that's all right. That's all right. They're still on that part of that curve that was still a flat line. Okay, it hadn't ticked up yet. So 57 days ago was the first death. I'm going to let that sink in a minute. Great to see you also, Kendall. 57 days ago, less than 2 months ago, was the first death. 3 days ago, last Thursday, okay? 3 days ago, 54 days after the first death, 3 days ago, that number had gone from 1 death to 47,272 deaths attributed to the coronavirus. from one death 57 days ago to over 47,000 3 days ago. Is it serious? That sounds pretty serious to me. Just this Friday, the next day, by Friday afternoon, that number had gone from 47,272 to 50,373. From Thursday afternoon to Friday afternoon, 3,101 people died in that 24-hour period. 3,101 people died from Thursday to Friday from COVID-19 related symptoms. So that was from Thursday to Friday. By yesterday morning, which was Saturday, yesterday morning, that number had gone from 50,373 to yesterday morning at 10:30 in the morning. It was 51,949, 1,576 deaths from Friday evening until Saturday morning. 1,576 deaths. Then last night, 9 hours later, I did another update. 7 p.m. last night. The number had gone from, remember, yesterday morning, 51,949. By 7 p.m. last night, it was 53,449 dead. 1,500 more dead in 9 hours. In the United States, these ain't no global numbers I'm giving. These are United States figures. This is crazy. And there are people talking about, well, let's go back to work. It's just the flu. Oh, crazy as heck. So now that was last night, right now, right now, Sunday evening, right now. Sunday evening, right now, that number is 54,614. Nicola, how you doing? Good to see you. Michael, what's going on? Elizabeth, how you doing? Okay. Cora, good evening. Okay. Let me back this down just a minute. Okay. Yeah. Tonight, 54,619 dead in America. Overnight, from last night, okay, till today, that's 1,165 more deaths. And in 24 hours, from 6 p.m. until yesterday, 6 p.m., 2,665 dead. Okay. Yeah, this thing is crucial. And what's really obvious is the numbers keep going up. The numbers are steadily going up. They're not flatlining. They're going up. Right now, they're saying, 3,000 a day is a casual number. To put this in perspective, let's just put this in a little bit of better perspective if it wasn't clear enough already. 30 days ago, let's just say 30 days ago, the death toll in the United States was 1,000. 1,000 dead 30 days ago. And in a month, in 30 days, over 53,000 Americans have died. In 30 days. 53,000 Americans. Remember, March 1st, 1 dead. 15 days later, on March 16th, there were 85 dead. 10 days after that, there were 1,000 dead. 30 days after that 1,000, and 57 days since this whole thing started in America, 54,614 dead. The average number of deaths today, if we just average out over 57 days time, the average number of deaths right now is at 958 per day. That's an average, okay? 3 days ago, the average was only 860. 863 3 days ago per day. That was the average. Today, that's up to 958. Tomorrow it's going to be a higher number. The day after that, it's going to be a higher number. Melissa, how you doing? Lynette, good to see you. It's going to be a higher number. If we just look at this average right now for the last 57 days, that since this arrived on the shores of America, and that average of 958, if we extrapolate that out over a year's time, if this thing carries on for a year at the numbers as they are right now, without even increasing, we're looking at 350,000 dead in the United States. $350,000 dead in the United States if we don't get something done. And what do we get done? Well, I said it earlier when I started out. It's the two things that really can help to control this is one, testing, which we don't have any kind of control over, okay? And apparently our government is not doing everything that it can in order to make sure it happens. But the other part, we do. We have all the control over it. It's called social distancing. It's called sheltering in place. It's called staying home. It's called washing hands frequently with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. If you don't have capabilities to wash them, use sanitizer until you can. Not gathering in groups of more than 3 at any given time and staying 6 feet away from each other. No contact whatsoever, no handshaking, no fist bumping, no hugging. No, now is not the time for that. And stay home. Unless you absolutely have to. And if you absolutely have to, because people have to go to the store and things, like stores are still open. And I thank God for retail workers that are there. I got something to say about them too. Because they ain't protecting themselves. But if you got to go out, if you got to interact, wear something to cover your face, a mask, okay? It's nice to have the nice hospital masks and everything, but everybody ain't got them. And anything to stop from droplets exploding from your mouth. I'm not saying whether you cough or sneeze. I don't care when we talk. When I'm talking right now, if there was lasers present, you could see spittle coming out because that's just the human mouth, the orifice, And so in order to stop this from happening, going toward others, because you could have coronavirus and not know it, there's an incubation period of 14 days when you have no symptoms whatsoever. And you're just as contagious as if you had all of the symptoms, okay? You just are infected, don't know it. And once you communicate, if it gets in someone's eyes or mouth or nose or on their hands and they put their hands in their eyes or whatever, you can give it to them. So in order to stop that, anytime that you go in the public, wear a mask, okay? And it's twofold. Wear a mask that covers your nose and your mouth, okay? And your mouth. This is not acceptable. Nope. Because if somebody's talking to you and you got it like this here, and they got it, your nose is exposed. It's bad enough your eyes will be exposed when it's like this, but at least trying to limit it. And the other part is, okay, if somebody has it and you have a mask on, it stops them from communicating this to you. So it works both ways. It stops you from communicating this virus to someone else or limits it, not necessarily stops it, but limits it drastically. Even if you just got a cloth, not even a surgical mask. And then from them, if they're talking to you, if they sneeze or something, at least you got some kind of protection over your nose and your mouth. Okay. And remember, if they're anywhere within 6 feet, tell them to get back. Get back. Social distancing, because we don't have control over the tests. We can't go out. We don't just have the test. The government should be doing mass testing right now, like other countries did, in order to make sure that they were isolating this pathogen and identifying who had this problem and who didn't, and then doing tracing to find out who those people that were infected came in contact with. Contact tracing is what they call it, in order to find out, okay, how serious is this person, and thereby limiting the effect of the pathogen. Those are the way to control this. But we only have control of what we do, and social distancing is the method. And that's the problem that happens with all of these people are saying, open back up, and we want to have our jobs back, and I want to go get my hair done, and I want to go to the beach and all of this. But those are the national numbers. I'm sorry, went off on a tangent. Okay, let me get back to South Carolina, because I know most of the folks on here right now, most of them, but not all, are South Carolinians. So what about South Carolina? South Carolina had its first death from coronavirus on March 16th. March 16th was the first death. That was 41 days ago. Okay, once again, 41 days, right? Right. 6 weeks ago. Not even 2 months ago. Okay. All right. Let that sink in. 41 days ago, we had our first case. Okay. 25 days later, on Friday, March 10th, on March the 10th, that number had gone from 1 to 72. So in 25 days, we had 72 deaths here in South Carolina. Okay. 25 days. 25 days. By Sunday, April the 19th, which was 9 days later, this was last Sunday, the death toll had gone from 72 in South Carolina up to 119. Okay, so 119 dead in 34 days. That would have been 34 days at that time since the first COVID-19 death on March 16th. 47 of those 119 deaths happened in that 9-day period. Okay, I want you to think about this before I move forward. In the first 25 days, we lost 72 people to COVID virus, to COVID-19. 25 days, 72 people. Then in 9 days after that, we lost 47 people. 72 in 25 days, 47 in 9. The number's ticking up, isn't it? Well, let's see where we're at right now. Okay. Again, I emphasize before I move on, 47 of the 119 deaths as of last Sunday, the 19th, happened in the 9-day period between April 10th and April 19th. On Thursday, 3 days ago, I reported that number had jumped up to 150 deaths. It had gone from 119 up to 150 deaths in 4 days. 31 deaths in 4 days, from Sunday the 19th until Thursday the 23rd. This evening, 3 days later, after I reported that we went up to 150, the COVID death toll in South Carolina stands at 174. 24 more dead in South Carolina since Thursday. So let's backtrack a little bit. First case, March 16th. First death, March 16th. 25 days later, 72 dead. Okay. 9 days after that, 119 dead. 7 days after 119 dead, there's 174 dead. In the first 25 days, 72 deaths. In the last 16 days, there have been 104 deaths. Again, in the first 25 days, there were 72 deaths. In the last 16 days, there's been 104 deaths in South Carolina. Is the number going down? No, the number's going up. And here we are dropping our guards. Here we are saying open up stuff. Department stores and jewelry shops and luggage stores and all these other different places that I guess these are essential places or whatever, or actually just to appease people who value their business over their own lives and the lives of others. Let that sink in. For me, the lives of people will always take precedent over anything else. Save people. Lavinia, good to see you. Joyce, what's happening? How are you doing? Okay, good to see you. Chef Cheryl, what's happening? B.I., what's happening? All righty, good to see you. Good to see you. 72 deaths in 25 days, then 104 deaths in 16 days. So I ask you, is it getting better or is it getting worse? It's getting worse. My friends, right now, we're starting to enter into the beginning of the curve. That curve they're talking about is flattened, a curve that we have never seen before. Miss Cooper, how you doing? A curve that we haven't even seen. How you going to flatten a curve that we ain't even seen yet? We had those single cases or 2 cases or 5 cases. Then it jumped up to 9 cases in a day. And then it hit 7 again. And we're hovering right around in there right now. But it's getting there. You see the uptick. You see the uptick. 72 in 25 days and 104 in 16 days. That's a big jump. And it's getting worse. It's getting worse. We're behind the curve already. So the way to beat this would have been to aggressively deal with this months ago, or weeks ago, months ago. Not months ago. 2 months ago, it wasn't even here. Before it really got bad. You don't beat a pandemic after the fact, retroactively. You have to get in front of it. In front of it. And our government and folks on the ground who still playing games with this killer and thinking it's all right. This thing is coming. This thing is coming. And as I said the other night, I hope I'm wrong. I pray that I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'm going to come back on here and say I was wrong. And I'm so happy I was wrong because people didn't die. But if I'm right, people are going to die. When as many people that will die didn't have to die. All we had to do was stop playing games and stop letting our ego trips and all of this and being pseudo-intellectuals and everything and just looking at the real. I'm a high school grad. If I can figure this out based on what the experts are saying too, these people can do it. And people's lives are at stake. They're going to be people orphaned. Let me explain how this contagion works, okay? All righty. A crucial step in reining in the coronavirus pandemic, okay, is determining just how contagious it is, okay? And that comes down to one crucial metric. One crucial metric that's called the RO, or the R-Nought. It's the R0, and they call it the R-Nought, okay? The R-Nought refers to the average number of people that one sick person goes on to infect in a group that has no immunity. So if one person got it, then that person infects somebody else. The number of people that person infects, that's the R-Nought, okay? Experts use this to predict how far and how fast the disease will spread. And the number can also inform policy decisions about how to contain an outbreak, how you can find it, okay? R-Nought is a popular, R-Nought, N-A-U-G-H, Nought, okay? R-Nought is a population-based determination that helps to decide, is the outbreak taking off? Is it leveling off? Or is it diminishing? That's according to Dr. Anthony Fauci, okay? The director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases since 1984, I might add. So he know a little bit about what he's doing. He's been the director since 1984, okay? The R-Nought of the coronavirus so far seems to hover right around 2 to 2.5 according to the World Health Organization. And my friends, this ain't no flu. This is not no flu, okay? I don't care who talking that smack, okay? And that's why a lot of people saying, it's just a cold, it's just a cold. No, this ain't no cold, okay? And the R-Nought has shown that it's not a cold. It's not just a regular flu. And here's what the numbers look like. Tracy, how you doing? Miss B, please tell Kim I said hey, and I'm keeping you all in prayer, okay? That's for sure. I can't read the whole comment. I see you talk about Mrs. Scott. I got to call Mr. Scott sometime soon. But I got a little printout here, and I'm gonna just hold it up, okay? Because it talks about the numbers. When it comes to the R-Nought, okay, the R-Nought for flu, okay, is 1.3. That means that if one person has it, that person will affect approximately 1.3 people, who in turn will infect someone else, another person, 1.3 people per person, okay? That's the infection rate for the flu. And I just said it, for COVID-19 coronavirus, the R-Nought is 2 to 2.5. So every one person that's infected will infect 2 to 2.5 other people. Not like with COVID. Not like with flu. Flu is just one person or 1.3 people. COVID, you're going to infect at least 2 to 2.5 people. So first off, the infection rate is a lot higher than flu. Okay. The incubation period. The incubation period with the flu is from 1 to, let's see, where am I at? Right here? Yeah. The incubation with the flu is from 1 to 4 days. 1 to 4 days. So it gets in there, and after that time, then it begins to break down. The incubation period, though, with coronavirus is from 1 to 14 days. During this 1 to 14 days, you are fully contagious, just as if you had all the symptoms, but you have no symptoms whatsoever. You can infect somebody, not even know you had it, and they won't even know they had it for another 14 days that they've been infected. That's how crazy it is. Look at the hospitalization rate. Okay, can I get this thing up here? I hope you all can see this. The hospitalization rate for the flu is 2%. 2% of those who catch the flu wind up getting hospitalized. COVID-19, the hospitalization rate is 19%. 19% of those who catch the coronavirus, 19% of them are going to be hospitalized, okay? And of those 19%, well, for the flu, fatality rate is right there at the bottom. I think I got it right there. I hope I got it. Okay, I can't tell. For the flu, the fatality rate is 1% or less. But for the COVID virus, the fatality is, the flu, the fatality is 0.1% or less. 0.1% of those who catch the flu die. 0.1%. But for the coronavirus, 1 to 3.4% of those who catch that virus die from that virus. This ain't no flu. This is a killer. This is a killer. And this is a killer that the data has clearly shown that there's a disparate amount of African Americans that are being impacted by this than there are white people, although the virus itself does not discriminate. It has to do with conditions, living conditions, and societal issues that of disparate treatment in America, why we as African Americans have weakened systems. Right now, nationally, the numbers run around with us representing 14% of the national population. Black people are accountable for 70% of the coronavirus deaths. So, and we got people that's mimicking what this governor is saying and what some of our mayors are out here, African Americans who are out here speaking on this as if it don't matter. But it do. It do. This thing is looking for people to kill. And the people that are most susceptible to be killed by it are black people. Looking for people with weakened immune system, pre-existing conditions. And you can have a pre-existing condition and not know you had a pre-existing condition because you didn't go to the hospital because you was unable to get good health care. Shakim, what's going on? Tracy, all right. Jackie, Brother Willie, what's happening? All righty. We got problems, though, as we see people loosening their grip, allowing people to get back out and whatever already. And we haven't even gotten to the curve yet. We haven't gotten there yet. Now we are dropping our guard down, letting people just go out into the stores and who needs to who needs to go into a jewelry store right now or a florist? Why? Stay home. But once the lockdowns lift, experts fear a resurgence of new coronavirus cases. So let's just say in a place like New York, where they've had this spike and it's starting to level off some, and they start to slack up. It's happening in China. It's actually happened in China. And Italy and Spain, they're planning right now, so it doesn't happen there, okay? But as soon as they dropped their guards, this thing came back in with a vengeance. This happened in 1918 the same way. People got tired of social distancing and made excuses or whatever and decided, I'm not going to do it anymore. I want to go to the beach. I want to get my hair done. I want to go, my job, you know, my money. And they let their guards down. And the second wave, that first wave after the original pandemic came through, that next wave killed more people than the first wave did because they dropped their guards. So once lockdowns are lifted, experts fear that a resurgence of new corona cases will happen. And so to prevent the next wave of COVID-19 patients from overwhelming our hospitals again, a group of infectious researchers at Harvard have suggested that on and off social distancing might even be necessary until 2022. Here we are dropping the guard. What the heck's wrong with us? We're dropping the guard. And they're saying even with the guard up right now, we might wind up extending social distancing until 2022. They saying this ain't Dixon. This is infectious disease researchers at Harvard. They said it. According to the WHO, the World Health Organization, the average person infected with coronavirus contaminates 2 to 2.5 people. I said that already. So if one person with the coronavirus passes it on to 3 people, just 3 people, okay, and those 3 people pass it on to 3 more people for 10 cycles, there will ultimately, down the road, be infected from that one person, 40,000 to 59,000 infections just from those interactions. 40 to 59,000 just from those interactions. And the mortality rate, once again, 1 to 3.4% will die from those cases, okay? Now, I don't seem that bad, but right now, what is it right now? Right now, there are 963,168 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the U.S. Nearly 1 million cases of COVID-19 already diagnosed in the U.S. And remember, each one of those has the ability to infect 2 to 2.5 people. And each one of those 2 to 2.5 people has the ability to infect 2 to 2.5 people. Okay, you're tracking with me. I hope you're tracking with me. But that's the national number. What about South Carolina? South Carolina confirmed cases, 5,490 cases in South Carolina. And once again, each one of those 5,490 confirmed cases has the ability to infect anywhere from 1 to 2.5 people, who in turn will infect more people. It's one of the highest infection rates out. Joyce, how you doing? Brian, what's going on? Shakima, how you doing? All right, Dave, what's going on? All right. That's South Carolina. My friends, the level of potential contagion for this thing is off the charts. And we dropping guards. We saying open up all the stores. Just go back to work. If you're scared, don't go out. That ain't the problem. That ain't the problem. The problem ain't about being scared. It's about being smart. Because it's not just your life that's on the line when you go out. You get infected, you're going to infect somebody else. And that person's going to infect some more people. And that's how it spreads. That's how we got to almost 1 million confirmed cases in the United States. That's how we got to 54,000 plus deaths in the United States in less than 2 months, 57 days. And it ain't stopped yet. These numbers are growing. They're getting bigger. The level of contagion is off the charts, and that's why we can't afford to drop our guard now. We got Georgia letting the thing down. They open up barber shops and bowling alleys and beauty salons, nail shops. At least some of the people there are smart enough to not take the bait. Not take the bait. Shoot. For the black people, just think of it as population control. I'm going to put that out there just like that. Just think of it as population control. Because I guarantee you, if Stacey Abrams would have won that election, Georgia would have been shut down. Straight up. Well, Matt. In all of this, though, Michael, I'm doing well. How about you? Good evening, Yvette. Good evening. Evangelist Wright, how are you doing? Good to see you. Okay. Out of all of this, though, there's still people out here acting like it's in the best interest of the people to open up businesses and to place the economy over the lives of people. We're in a sorry way. When all that we need to do is to sit tight right now. Practice our social distancing, our hand washing, make sure that we're wearing face masks when we go out or wherever we might go. That's all we got to do. It's not much. We do that for a month's time. If we would have started in the beginning of mid-March, we would have been well on our way to right now having overcome. Yeah, that's right. So you're right, Missy. She did win it. Yeah. You know what we're working with. We would have been well on our way to getting beyond this first wave already if we would have started in mid-March. We would have been doing real good with an executive order out here from the governor saying, nope, there's not no options on this, okay? You will be allowed to go to a store, but if you show up at the store without a mask on, you're not going to be able to get in. And people inside of the store, no, you're not going to work without a mask on. You're going to have a mask on. And not a mask that's hanging under your nose like that there, or under your chin trying to look all cool and cute and stuff like that. No, you will be wearing it properly. Now, if we'd have put that out just like that there, maybe right now we would have had a chance. But instead, we got this sweet tea governor, soft sell, who think he being cute following up behind Donald Trump. And because of that, people gonna die. People gonna die. And this ain't no joke. Here's a little fact. I just want to talk about a little bit of this fact, okay? It's some facts about the devastation that over 54,000 in America have endured already, and nearly 200 in South Carolina so far, that they've had to deal with because of the effectiveness and the efficiency of this killer. This killer is effective and efficient, okay? We have, our children are out of school, right? And I heard all the conversations. Sister Soldier, what's going on? Alexis, how you doing? Good to see you again. I hear the conversations about, well, the kids out of school. First off, the kids were brought out of school because schools are a breeding ground for germs. Anybody that got kids know schools are a breeding ground for germs. So if those little kids brought in coronavirus from home, they're going to give it to the other kids, pass it on. Not that they're going to get sick but they do. They are capable of contracting this virus and dying from this virus, okay? But they also take it back to their homes through their clothes or whatever. And you might have granny in the house with a weakened immune system now because this kid brought it back. So in order to control that, they said, okay, we're just going to make sure the kids don't go to school. Leave them at home, okay? And they made provision for it. Of course, there's been a big stink about that, blah, blah, blah. But once again, life first, okay? But where are we at right now? Because people are still talking about this because kids need to get back to school. Let me just put it this way. Opening up these businesses and all of that, dropping our guards or whatever, this thing ain't going to get no better. It's going to get worse. And if it gets worse, what's going to happen? The schools ain't going to open up. And the children are not going to go back to school. Those who advocate for them so passionately, that no matter what the advocating is going to be, they're not going back to school, maybe not even in September, if this thing gets worse. So for those that might be advocates for our children out here for school or whatever, be talking about go on out here and do this, that, and the other, well, keep on. And those same children that you want to educate are not going to go back into the schools to educate. They're going to stay right where they are, because if you think this thing is getting ready to get worse and they're going to say, well, let the kids go back to school, you're dead wrong. It's not the way it works. It's not the way it works. And maybe not even in September, like I said. Things get bad enough, man, them kids ain't going back to school maybe 2022. For sure. And if I'm wrong, once again, I will say so. I will say so. Okay? Absolutely. And I pray that I am wrong. What about the students themselves? I'm just talking about the kids, okay, right now. What about the students themselves? What about the children? Okay, and that's what I wanted to play was a Marvin Gaye song from his What's Going On called Save the Children. Okay, but I couldn't get my computer to work right and to get it on there. But what about the children? Many of their parents are what we're calling essential workers, healthcare workers, retail workers, sanitation and post office workers, police and firemen, truck drivers, and yes, some are even funeral directors. People who cannot stay home because their jobs dictate that they must go out. Their children are the ones that are out of school too. Okay? And we say we love our children, right? These amazing people are doing everything they can to go to work safely and return home without getting sick or bringing home something that will contaminate the entire household. Well, at least some of them are, because I see a lot of these out here, especially in the retail places. They're not having they're telling their people to wear masks, but they're not enforcing it. You got the greeter guy that's standing outside, counting people coming in because they're supposed to count the number of people. And he got his thing like this here. It's just, and he just talking. And folks in the parking lot like that, and the cashiers, and hey, it's like that there. Yeah, for sure. That's killer stuff right there. That ain't right. It needs to be enforced there. But still in all, though, a lot of folks are going to work now, and they're taking every precaution they can in order to not only go there, but to come home safely and not bring anything home that's going to contaminate their family. And the less people that they have to come into contact with, the less the number of people that they have to come in contact with, even at the store or in these other occupational situations, the less the number of people they have to come into contact with, the greater the chance that they will have of not taking something home that will either kill them or someone in their household. And they themselves will live to see their children grow up. In the United States, I said it, there had been over 54,000 who didn't succeed in that task. And they died within the last 2 months. And in South Carolina, nearly 200 that died within the last 41 days. So just think about it. All of these people out here are essential workers. They don't want to get sick. They want to go home. They don't want to be infected. And the least amount of people that they have to come in contact with daily is going to make it better for them as far as not getting infected. That's how this thing works. And if they do their social distancing and wear their mask and things like that to protect themselves, that's how it works. But the more people we tell them, like California beaches. Oh, yeah, we got social distancing on the beaches. Y'all make sure y'all standing 6 feet apart. Or what? You see them people packed up on them. People don't care nothing about that. All they wanted to do was here, let's go. And they went. There wasn't enough police out there to arrest anybody or to fine them. That's why we need strict leadership that says, no, you are going to abide by this. And it's going to come to that. It's going to come to that if it gets any worse. If we get anywhere near, how do you get worse? 54,000 people in 57 days. In 57. Come on, somebody. Come on now. So now, as I come closer to the end of this, I just want to make this personal right now. Okay, for all of those people that's out there talking about go to work, open back up. All the stores are open. If you're afraid to go outside, just don't go outside. I'm gonna make this personal. This is from me. This ain't even Pastor Dixon. This is Thomas Dixon. This is a husband. He's been married to my wife now for over 40 years, and I'm happy with my wife. Okay, some of you all know what she does for a living. She's a healthcare worker. She's a respiratory therapist. Okay, she works in the units where those who are near death, those who they're trying to bring back from death's door, she works with those people. She has to come in contact with them regularly. She wears the gear regularly. And she also, when she leaves from work, she makes sure that she changes clothes and showers. When she gets home, she drops her clothes and shoes and everything in a certain place before coming in the house. Okay, this is a regimen in order to not infect anybody else in the household. She don't want to kill me. And I appreciate that for sure. But I don't want none of these people that's talking all this craziness contributing to her dying either. Can you understand that? The less number of patients that she has to see in the COVID unit down there. When she goes to work, the less number of patients that she has to see means the less exposure that she has to this virus and the less chance that she might catch this and get sick and die. So in other words, for those people that's talking that mess, you threatening my wife. And I don't appreciate it. I don't appreciate it one bit. One bit. Put your own wife in that situation. Better still, why don't you just, for all them folks that been out there driving around in them cars in Colombia, and all them folks that's running around talking about, I got to get my hair, go on and spend a day down in the COVID unit. Get dressed out and you go in there. I bet ain't not a one of you going to do it. Because it take guts. Not somebody worrying about I'm about to lose my business. My wife is there. And she works at two hospitals. Two local hospitals. Yeah. Respiratory therapy. She's the one that sets up the ventilators and puts the ventilators in. Okay. She's the one that stands at bedside sometimes and as people, if they're alert, okay, asking about their family members that they'll never get a chance to go see personally again. Because once you are confined, quarantined, once you're admitted, there's no contact. Wife or son or something drop you off at the emergency room door, talking about I'll be up there in a minute to see you. No, you never get up there. You better kiss them goodbye then. And my wife is that one right there. Right there. And we got people playing this game out here. Go to work. Go to work. I want to go to work. I got to go to work. And then you got some essential workers out there that are just mad because they're essential workers. Well, if you're an essential worker and you don't want to go to work, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. But don't try to set everybody else up out here to catch this darn thing and die. Make them children out here, them children that's going to school, make them orphans. Who gonna raise them? Why they have to grow up knowing that their parent went to work because they were essential services or because somebody said, okay, let's open up the stores and everything. And then one day they left and never came back home again. And they become a statistic of the 2020 pandemic of coronavirus. A statistic. Leave them children orphaned like that. They need to stop it. For all those who are talking about open back up, their reckless disregard for others could, and I say could, increase the number of patients that my wife and her coworkers have to see, which in turn will increase the chances of her and them catching this killer and possibly dying from it, leaving me a widower and our children without a mother, and our grandchildren without their granny. Come on now. It's personal. Get mad if they want to. I don't care. It's personal. Basically, I feel like just these people don't care about other people. They don't care about my wife. And always talking that smack. Where does their right to come and go and make money? Where does their right to do these things as they please? Let me just put it that way, because that's all it is, because they don't really have to do these things. Sometimes you got to take the L, okay? And by the L, I mean the L, the loss, okay? You can't always have a situation where you're going to make the money. In this type of situation right now, it's time to just sit tight. Sit tight, for sure. Sit tight for 4 weeks. Maybe if folks would have sat tight 3 weeks ago, St. Patrick's Day around in there, maybe we'd have been in a better place right now. But the question that I have to ask is, where does their right to come and go and make money as they please, where does that right supersede other people's right to life and to live? Where does that, how does their, the way that their selfish nature and reckless attitude, how does that outweigh someone else's right to life and to live? Our healthcare workers, our retail workers, and sanitation workers, and post office workers, and policemen, and firemen, and truck drivers, and yes, funeral directors. All of these that are deemed essential workers, they were all, as the framers of our Declaration of Independence said, all endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life. Life. Where does their right to do whatever they want to supersede these other ones' right to life? It doesn't. It doesn't. Maybe all of those who want to open back up, maybe they should, as I said earlier, maybe they should spend some time in a hospital COVID unit in a hot spot. Maybe they ought to carry the bags out to the refrigerator truck. I was looking at the impact that's happening in South Carolina, I believe it in Ecuador, where they had just caskets after caskets, cardboard caskets just lined up because they can't bury them fast enough. Maybe these people that want to do this, it just ought to be mandatory, go down and I want you to hold the hands of someone. Oh, that's right. You can't hold their hands. That's right. Because they're infected. You can't hold their hands when they're infected. But maybe they could go down into the COVID unit and look into someone's eyes and watch them when they take that last breath. Alone, with no family around. Only a stranger there who's being encouraged really to just move on to the next patient and quit wasting time with someone who's not going to make it anyway. Yeah, this is the real. This is what's happening in hospitals in New York, in New Orleans, in Italy, in China, Spain, all over. And it's coming here. Maybe they should spend time with the person who probably lived a decent life. Got children, grandchildren, church family. Might have been thug, nasty thug, don't know. Don't care, still a life. Maybe they should spend time there. And just a life that just tried to do the right thing. Many of those folks that are dying tried to do the right thing, tried to wear the mask and everything or whatever, and just this virus got them. Did all the precautions according to the CDC. But one day they had to go to the store, and the store was full of people instead of having a minimum number in that store because people did not get the word to stay home or disrespected the word to stay home and just felt it's just the flu. It's just the flu. It's just a little cold. Went in the store, most people there was without masks on or wearing their masks hanging off their faces or whatever. And that person just tried their best and just had to touch the shopping cart handle that had been improperly cleaned, even though they said it was cleaned. and they picked up the virus, and somewhere along the way they had to scratch their face or whatever and caught that virus and ultimately wound up in the hospital in the COVID room and died alone. It's not right. It's not right. And for those who are continuing to support this madness, like Kemp in our neighboring state and McMaster here, who wants this sweet tea politics and, just is afraid to just be up front and save lives, to those down here on the ground level who saying this, go back to work, Same people who made predictions about this that was wrong. Just wait and see. The numbers, I just showed the trends on the numbers, and the trend ain't lying. It's going to get worse. Stand by. I figure within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're really going to see a problem. Right here. Okay? And the governor and them and MUSC and all of them that might be covering it up right now, South Carolina DHEC, the truth going to come out. Because they're not going to be able to stop the truth from coming out. And again, I pray that I'm wrong. And if I am wrong, I will come back and say so. Because if I'm wrong, then people are living. But if I'm right, body bags and toe tags. And this thing don't care who it get. Because it's going to get somebody. So until then, okay? Well, last comment about those who are saying this, okay? Listen, there are consequences for your actions. You can't just spout off stuff unsupported and think that there's not going to be a consequence. Every time somebody does something or says something that impacts somebody else negatively, there's a price to pay. It's called, some people call it karma. Sometimes some people say, whatever a man sows, so shall he reap. That's what in Christian biblical. Well, whatever it is, whatever you do, guaranteed, it's going to come back at you. So for those that think that that's playing around with this coronavirus right now, and you think you got away, if you got bloody hands in any kind of way, even if you don't think you got bloody hands and they're bloody, don't be surprised when this thing come back on you. Might not be the coronavirus, but whatsoever man sows, so shall he reap. Karma is karma, and it's a real deal. Okay, so think about the consequences of your actions. And that's all I can say. I hope Henry McMaster is listening tonight, but I doubt it. Folks who should be listening to the truth don't want to hear the truth. Okay, and this is the truth that I'm just saying. Okay, so until then, please, folks, please. Hand washing is still on the table. Remember, we don't have tests out here to find out or contact tracing to find out what the path is. So the only thing that we can do is what we can do. And what we can do is we can wash our hands frequently, 20 seconds minimum, with soap and water. If you don't have soap and water around, sanitizer. Use sanitizer, okay? But don't use sanitizer as a substitute for soap. Sanitizer, you got to use some soap and water sooner or later. And, wash yourself, too, every now and then, please. That's healthy. But hand washing, social distancing. That means no gathering in groups of more than 3. Okay, more than 3. And even if you're in more than 3, or if you're in a group of 3, make sure you're 6 feet away from each other. That way, these droplets, these invisible droplets that might come out of your mouth or out of someone else's mouth, that doesn't land on each other and get us infected, if we have the coronavirus, which we'll never know in that 14 period of incubation. We would have it, pass it on, and not even know that we did. Okay, so no gathering of 3 or more, 6 feet apart, no contact, none of that handshaking and all that carrying on. That's a thing of the past. You want to greet somebody, throw up a dupe, okay? Hand over the heart and a nod, okay? Like the Asian folks have done for centuries. Give them a good nod, okay? And let that be. Yeah, Sister Soldier. No passing of no blunts, no passing the 40s or nothing like that. Drinking behind folks, them days is over. Them days is over. COVID taking folk out for doing that. because you don't know if that person got it or not. They ain't going to stand around there sweating and coughing and all of that. No. That person look just as normal as you, and then man hit that 40. Bam. Next thing you know, you in the COVID unit. What happened? Oh, that blunt. I hope that was a good blunt. I hope that thing was good. That thing killed you, for sure. So, social distancing. Stay at home, please. Stay at home. If you at all possibly can, stay at home. If you got to go to the store, get you a list together. Go once a week. Don't let that stimulus money get you killed. I don't care what stores open, department stores or whatever. The malls, they say the malls are just going to open up. Just because it opened don't mean you got to go. If you never before did it, have a little money sitting in your bank for a minute. You might like it. It might change your life, for sure. But stay home unless you actually have to. And if you have to go out, please, please, I don't care whether it's a hospital mask, a rag, a T-shirt, I don't care what it is, but cover your face, cover your nose and your mouth with something, okay? When you go out, tie a rag around it, okay? Cover your mouth and your nose. This is official, okay? Whatever it is, cover your mouth and your nose. Masks are not to be worn this way. That's a setup for death because your nose is wide open to these particles that can get in there, the droplets. And then the masks are not a fashion statement. So you're running around like this here. I'm good. No, this thing could save your life. And if you don't value your life that much, value someone else's life because you might be running around with coronavirus too. And every time you say something, there's stuff coming out of your mouth and going to other people who might not be protecting themselves or landing on things that they put their hands on. And then they in turn will touch their face or their eyes or their nose or something like that and then get infected. So it's the simple things. If the government won't do it, won't stand up and man up, then you got to do it for yourself anyway. Matter of fact, you shouldn't wait on the government to do anything for you. This is your life. These are your children who want you to be there for them. Not a number, not a statistic, not somebody that Pastor Dixon had to talk about later that didn't make it. No. Stand up for yourself and fight this fight. Stay home if you don't have to go out. If you have to go out, wear a mask and make sure you're practicing social distancing when you're out, okay? I'm going to talk about gloves on another one because I see people always talking about these gloves or whatever. Man, gloves are not the best way to go, okay? Trust me, they're not the best way to go. I used to work in the operating room. I used to work in surgery, okay? And if you don't know what you're doing with gloves, they can be just as dangerous as not having gloves on, okay? I'm going to leave that right there. So, listen, in closing, I just want everybody to know, just like I always do, first off, I love you. I love you all, and ain't nothing you can do about it. And the reason why I do what I do is because I love you. I have no ulterior motives. I don't get paid for what I do, never have, and don't care to, I have the ability to sleep at night knowing that I tried to help somebody, that I tried to save somebody, So the rest of these people that's out here that be running off with the mouth and they show up all of a sudden when money show up, be careful of them. Be careful of them, okay? Be careful of them. Make sure that you vet whoever you're going to be following behind. I'll be back on soon. Y'all, please, life is short. Coronavirus has made life even shorter for a lot of people. Over 54,000 nationally, and in the state of South Carolina, almost 200. I guarantee you that number's going to be over 200 in another day or so. Guaranteed, okay? I'll be coming back on again sometime soon, maybe a couple of 2 or 3 days from now, unless there's a serious issue that pops up at any given time. Then I'll put some word out. Until then, you all take care. Tell somebody you love them. Please, please, please do everything that I talked about as far as limiting this contagion. But in the meantime, in between time, keep telling folks you love them. Let's break the cycle of hate, destruction, disunity, disloyalty. Let's break those cycles. Let's break those curses. And let's begin to come together and work together and stand together and to fight together against anything that stops us from being the people that we're supposed to be. And that's a unified people. That means the village. We are the village. I love you all. You all take care. God bless. Until the next time we meet again, be safe. Peace.